We are live. Welcome everybody to the NZ Travel Show. So the aim of this live show is for us to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand.
And the South Pacific.
And the South Pacific, of course. So, Laura, tell the good people how the show works. I'm going to double check that we are live because we have had issues in the past.
Yes. Okay. So while Robin is checking that, in case we are live, let's introduce the show. So every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, we come onto YouTube Live for you guys to ask your New Zealand or South Pacific travel questions directly to the experts and the people behind several travel guides for traveling around New Zealand and the South Pacific. They are all listed at the bottom of the screen there, so we covered those destinations. So yeah, ask your New Zealand or South Pacific travel questions in the live chat. And in the meantime, we are going to go through our theme of the week.
Yes, and I felt a little cheeky today, so I decided to go for something slightly different. So we're going to tell you how to spot a tourist in New Zealand and how to spot a tourist in Fiji. And then we'll go over some of the funniest questions that we receive. We do receive a lot of questions here at South Pacific Pocket Guide, both for New Zealand and for the South Pacific. We're talking dozens and dozens of emails every week. And so, yeah, or even comments on YouTube and everything. So we thought we'll kind of have a little bit of fun with that. We're not going to name and shame, though. So there is going to be no name for each of the questions that we're going to be giving, okay? Okay, Laura?
Okay.
No name and shame. All right,
I'll
cool.
try to not
All right,
name and shame.
let's get started. Here's how to spot a tourist in New Zealand. If they think they can hike the Tongairo crossing in jeans, in jandals, or with a wheelie suitcase,
they're a tourist.
Yep.
If they think that they can outrun a kiwi bird to get a photo,
then they're a tourist. I've been guilty in trying to do that.
Run quick!
I wasn't running after them, but I was trying to hustle to try to take the photo.
They are very fast.
All right. If they say they can drive from Auckland to Queenstown in just one day because they do the similar distance back home all the time,
they're a tourist.
Yep.
If they're standing in the middle of the road trying to get the perfect shot of that one-lane bridge sign,
yeah, they're a tourist. Or in front of the mountain views, right in the middle of the photo and do that girly shot like that. Oh, Lord.
Tourist.
And finally, if they keep on making the same joke about where are all the hobbits or calling New Zealanders hobbit, then they are a tourist. So obviously that was just a little bit in jest, a couple of things that we kind of spot people do all the time, but that's also some tips for you to kind of avoid doing and not look like a tourist. So here you go. Laura, do you mind turning off that light for me?
Oh, yeah.
Over there. I just think that does a weird-ass reflection. There you go.
Better?
That's way better. Also, we don't have light at the back. This is nonsense today. Yeah. There you go. Cool.
Any other lights?
Yes,
Any
we
other
are
lights
good. We are good. So yeah, any other thing that you've seen tourists do? That's obviously the first five that came to my mind. The most obvious ones.
Okay, so other things that tourists do, definitely although we say driving and doing the photo of the one-way bridges, but yeah, driving on the side of the road where there isn't really a safe place to stop, and they just basically pull up when there's not really much room and take photos. It's usually leaving the door open, pulling up on the side of the road, leaving the door open, and then taking the photos. You want to make as little, make as small a room as possible before taking photos. So yeah, I guess that's a bit of a touristy thing that I've seen a lot of people do, especially on the South Island. Does any more come to mind for you?
No, I think we should move on to Fiji.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to Fiji.
And don't forget, you can ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand or in Fiji right in the chat. All right. So if people are surprised, here's how to spot a tourist in Fiji. If they're surprised to learn that Fiji time means a lot of waiting,
they're a tourist. If they're frantically applying sunscreen every 5 minutes on day 1 and looking like a lobster on day 2,
they are tourists, and there are a lot of those.
Finding the right balance is challenging.
Yeah, and also it's all about aloe on day 2, not sunscreen. Okay. So if they're trying to figure out what there is two different types of kava and how much kava is too much kava, then they're a tourist. Always ask for the tourist cover.
Yes. Low tide.
Yes.
If they're trying to swim with goggles in the hotel pool, then complain about the high salt levels in the ocean.
Then they're tourists. And finally, if they're spending about an hour trying to open a coconut with whatever they can find around, and I have been very guilty to do that, then they are a tourist. So same thing, just ingest right here. And yeah, there are also tips for you. If you are planning a trip to Fiji, we have plenty of tips on Fiji Pocket Guide. You may want to check that out in the live chat. Okay, moving on. Let's go through some funny questions that we received throughout the years. I kind of have a little bit of a document when I put like some funny questions in there. Christina says, "Cara, how are you both doing?" We're doing awesome, Christina.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, that's been such a long time.
Yeah, how's it going in Canada?
Canada.
And are you planning another trip to New Zealand anytime soon?
Yeah. Are you planning on escaping the Canadian winter?
Mm.
All right. So a funny question I got about Fiji one time was, can I swim from one island to the next in Fiji, or is that just too ambitious?
You know what? There is an actual event where there are like
Really?
there are ocean swim events for like, you know, hardcore. I guess the opposite of doing a marathon, but like in the water.
But that's a supervised event. There are safety boats and all that thing, right?
And that's going between obviously like the small close islands together. But yeah, I probably would I would say definitely go for like a boat or a plane or something like that.
Because even in the Yasawas, where you have some clustered of islands like really close, like some places where we stayed, even just going that where you feel like it's really, really close. As soon as it's between islands, it's not really a lagoon, so you have a lot of currents.
Yeah.
We would have been like...
No, I definitely wouldn't advise...
Yeah, taken back to New Zealand, like, yeah.
You should definitely just swim where... You should, first of all, you should ask like where is safe to swim and go from there, basically. Yeah, you need some local knowledge to know where it's safe to swim.
So the next question is about Fiji as well.
Yeah, so how do I politely say no when someone offers me more cover in Fiji?
So I found this one really funny because Fijians tend to be so nice that it's kind of really hard to kind of say no, or they give it to you with a big smile and everything. So a couple of tips for that if you don't want to kind of obviously insult your host. First up, ask for low tide, which means basically the cup of kava is going to be less full. So that's the first one. Ask for low tide right from the get-go. Even on your first one, ask for low tide. And say, because like that you can have two. You know, it's better to have two low tides than one high tide, right? And second, quite often just make that quick joke and ask for like a tourist kava, and so it's a little more watered down, and that should be fine.
Yeah. That's a good tip there.
Christina says, no planning trip to New Zealand soon, sadly. I would love to be there now. We are thinking of a trip to Ireland, possibly.
Oh, interesting. What draws you to Ireland?
What can possibly do?
I know, that kind of sounds like there's nothing there. But I know there is obviously like lots of like beautiful, there are actually some beautiful landscapes in Ireland, as well as, you know, history, you know, castles, that sort of thing. So I do know there are things to go to Ireland for, but I'm just interested to know, like, you know, between like New Zealand and Ireland, I guess there's also similarities, English speaking countries as well. So yeah, I'm just curious. It's just a curiosity question.
And Adil says, Kiara, Robin, Laura, and all viewers, how are you doing, Adil? Thanks for being here yet this week again. You never disappoint, my friend. I love it. All right, so the next question was somebody that saw that video that was going around on Instagram for quite a while. And so, will the sheep in New Zealand actually respond if I say bah?
Only if you really commit to the accent.
They never did. To me, they never responded. Let's be honest. I don't get a bah back.
I always get just a blank look because, yeah, obviously we try. Just to make it clear, yes, of course you always try to bah at a sheep, and they do look at you. It's nice that they at least acknowledge your presence by looking
that's good.
at you.
That's lovely.
So
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Next question. Do I need a wetsuit to visit Hotwater Beach in New Zealand?
Yeah, so it means that people really think, so I find it funny because it means that they really think that the whole beach is going to be like hot water and everything. So the beach is cold. It's just when you dig, you get some hot water coming out, right? So no, if you're about to do your little jacuzzi stuff, well, you're going to have hot feet, and that's pretty much it. You don't really dig a whole full jacuzzi. Like
No.
it's also kind of just mostly for photo shoot.
The
Yeah.
water level that you usually get in hot water beach, like you'll have probably about this much water on a good day.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of water to sit in. So you are only sitting on like usually like just a really thin layer of hot water.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to sneeze.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right. So yeah, that's just a myth right here. New Zealand myth right here.
Yeah.
Christina says Ireland is cheaper to fly and closer, plus the history and the landscape for sure. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And
Cool.
Adil says, good, thanks. How are you and Laura doing today? We're doing really well. We're having fun.
We're doing good.
Yeah, we're just going through silly questions today. So yeah, we decided to take it very relaxed, very fun.
Yes.
Cool. Question about Samoa, Laura.
If I visit Samoa, should I bring my own machete to open coconuts?
I genuinely received that question. No, machetes are plentiful in Samoa. Also, if you don't know how to wield and use a machete yourself,
They're pretty dangerous.
yeah, you
We've
may
heard
want
some
to.
horror stories.
Yes, you may want to not be the one wielding the machete on the coconut and everything, especially since, people don't picture a coconut as like big, like really huge, heavy, and very sleek and slide kind of fruit, right? So you can really slide over it very easily. Like accidents are common and can easily happen. So if you don't know what to do with the machete, don't be the one using the machete.
Yeah,
Just putting it out there.
good tip.
All right.
Next up.
Again, I want to stress that those questions are questions that genuinely received. Just before Laura reads
I
it.
just read the next one. Can I bring my pet kiwi fruit to New Zealand for a photo with a real kiwi? Well, actually, there
Questions for you. Questions back. Do you have a pet kiwi fruit and why?
But this is interesting because there is an answer to this. You cannot bring fresh fruit to New Zealand.
Yeah, there is
so-
a boring answer, actually.
Yeah, there is a boring answer. So actually, you would not be able to bring your kiwi fruit to New Zealand unless you went through a whole like sort of quarantine process. Maybe it's the same for a pet animal. You also, if you had a pet animal and you wanted to bring that to New Zealand, you would have to go through lots of paperwork, quarantining process. So either way, whether it is a fresh fruit or an animal, you will have to go through a lengthy process that's not really worth it for tourists.
Especially if your pet kiwi fruit is the only thing you're trying to bring.
Yeah, and I also wouldn't advise bringing a pet kiwi fruit because think of like the trauma that kiwi fruit goes on when it gets flown on a plane. If it's in cargo as well, and it will be missing you for the whole time, and it'll be really scared, uncomfortable conditions. Like, do you really want to put your pet kiwi fruit through those conditions?
That said, there's a whole process, and you can contact New Zealand Customs, and they will help you through that.
I will advocate for anything.
Christina says by the time they got there, the fruit will be rotten, probably. Yeah.
That's another one to think about as well. So yeah, lots of things to think about when bringing your pet kiwi fruit to New Zealand.
All right, so the next one is about the Cook Islands, Laura.
Okay.
Is it true that the Cook Islands have no traffic lights? And how do people even know when to stop? Which is what made the question really funny to me. It's like, when do they know how to stop?
Yeah. Well, there.
First, yes, it's true. There are no traffic
Yeah, there
lights.
are
in
no
the Cook
traffic
Islands,
lights in the Cook Islands. But
that's
knowing
cool.
when to stop, there are other road rules that apply to many different countries as well.
Stop signs.
Stop signs. Seeing maybe if you're coming to an intersection and you see traffic, passing in front of you or about to pass in front of you from a distance, you maybe think
The light was green. That's you go, right?
you just sort of assess that as you get there, so just assessing your surroundings, knowing other road rules, maybe do a driving test before coming to the Cook Islands before you plan to drive. Get your full valid driving license because having a full valid driving license is also essential for driving and renting a vehicle in the Cook Islands as well, so they're good places to start.
I agree. Cool. What is the website for NZ Customs? Ask Adil. Customs.govt.nz, I think. Customs with an S.
There's also the Ministry of
mbie.govt.nz.
So it is split between different government organisations, but customs is one of them, and yeah, what we just said, MBIE.
Nice. All right, the next question, Laura, is for you from Samoa. Can I bring my coffee down the Tosua Trench? It's kind of like at some point, you don't have to be that addicted.
Yeah, first of all, you need help.
You need help. You need to call the Starbucks helpline.
Second of all, so why this is so funny is because the Tosua Ocean Trench, you have to go down a huge rung ladder, which you need all your limbs to negotiate.
All of them.
All of them. Whether you basically whatever limbs you have free, you'll want to use them for getting down this big ladder. It can be a little bit slippery, although they did have some new mats and stuff when we last visited. So still, having a hand clenching a coffee while going down a rung ladder is probably not a good idea. I wouldn't have a hand full going down the ladder.
Ant Meat says bonjour from France.
Oh, bonjour.
Oh, here you go. Comment ça va? All right. Next question is about New Zealand, Laura. Do the All Blacks just walk around in like rugby clubs and around New Zealand? Like, can you hang out with them?
I've never seen anyone who is from the All Blacks.
I'm going to ask you a question. Would you recognize them if
I
you
was
did?
going to say I wouldn't recognize them if I did.
People assume that New Zealand is a very small country, so everybody knows everyone, right?
Yeah. So that is the thing. It's like you're more likely compared to if you are in a country with a bit larger population, you probably are more likely to come across this elusive All Black rugby team. More likely in New Zealand than perhaps if you were in a country with more people.
Are you more likely to see a kiwi bird in the wild or an All Black in a town?
I actually think if you go to the right spots, you may be more likely to see a kiwi bird.
There you go.
In nature.
There you go.
Which arguably for me, I would be more excited about than seeing an All Black. But I mean, for rugby fans, it would be cool. But yeah, I mean, if you go to rugby clubs, I'm sure they do like community stuff. Like, I'm sure they go and support rugby communities and things. So I think that would probably be the best place to go and hopefully bump into an All Black. There's also the All Blacks experience in Auckland where you could go see pictures of all people who are from the All Blacks.
Yeah, and in Palmerston North there is the Rugby
Museum. Yeah, so I mean, if you want to see some photos instead of Googling them or searching them online.
Passion right here. She shows passion.
Let's move on.
All right, so are there actual Lord of the Rings signs on hiking trails in New Zealand, or was it just a movie and advertisement things?
There were Lord of the Rings signs on hiking trails?
They were doing that in ads and everything, or like in this, like in some of the Air New Zealand safety videos and all those kind of things. So yeah, it was literally just for the ads and everything. So you don't have any of those kind of signs around Matamata, which is where Hobbiton is. There is a couple of big signs that says Hobbiton and this and that, but that's pretty much it. Like there is no Lord of the Rings signs kind of everywhere, or especially not on the hiking trails because it's by the Department of Conservation. So yeah,
and there's pretty much no sign of the Lord of the Rings being filmed at many of the locations, except for the Hobbiton movie set, which has been sort of preserved and made as a tourist destination. But when you go to any of the other filming locations for the Lord of the Rings, you won't see any, like, there's no set left behind. There was basically, they just took everything and went.
So there's a couple of like plaques here and there to kind of share. Oh yeah, like the Lord of the Rings. It's not, as Christina is saying, there's one on a bench in Mount Victoria. So there's a couple of those kind of things, but it's not like those big wooden signs and everything. There's none of those.
Yeah, and also in Wellington as well, where they shot Rivendell, there's like a little bit of an information sign.
Yeah,
and they put up a little an archway from it. Actually, if you think about Weta Workshop, also in the Wellington airport, they have some sculptures and stuff there, but I don't think they were actually used in the Lord of the Rings. It's more like to commemorate that Lord of the Rings was filmed a lot in Wellington. So yeah, obviously, so we're coming full circle, and there are slight signs that Lord of the Rings was filmed in New Zealand, but not everywhere, mostly in Wellington.
Yeah.
All right.
So Christina, good pitching in right here. I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. This question is funny and sad at the same time, Laura.
Yeah, I did see. I did
I
have a
know.
sneak peek.
So
at
we
this that
kind of have to tell you people. So the question is, can I actually ride a whale in Tonga?
If you can,
You shouldn't.
you shouldn't. Good luck trying to ride a whale.
Yeah.
But some people try to, and that is like so unethical.
Yeah. So under the law in Tonga, you are not allowed to do it, but there are some dodgy operators that allow you to be way too close to the whales, and it's really bad for the whales and bad for everybody. So yeah, don't. That's as
In
simple as
short,
that. You shouldn't want to.
Don't try to ride a whale,
Yeah.
and don't even get so close to a whale that you are within riding distance of it. Just don't even go there. Enjoy from a distance. It's a privilege and amazing to see. Just don't take it too far. Don't go too far, people.
Don't go too far. Next question. Will my sunscreen survive the Cook Island sun?
Survive.
Yes, I know. I love that wording, by the way. If you ask me your question in a silly wording like that, you're way more likely to get a faster answer. I mean, I answer to everybody, but sometimes it takes me a wee while. I mean, if the question is very silly, it's straight away. I take the time, people.
Yeah, but I think I know what they mean. So for SPF, like if you go anywhere below SPF 30, like if you get SPF 25, SPF 15, I don't know if you can get SPF lower than 15, but if you go low SPF, then it's not going to survive the Cook Island sun. No, it is not going to protect you from harmful UV rays. It will just...
To be fair, the sunscreen may survive, just your skin won't.
Yeah, your skin won't.
The sunscreen would be fine. The sunscreen doesn't care.
Yeah. But yeah, if you go for SPF over 30, or if you want to be extra cautious, 50 plus, then that is adequate protection.
Indeed.
So it will survive on your skin, and you will survive too.
All right. The next one I have is: are there really more sheep than people in New Zealand?
Well,
there has to be.
I don't think there is anymore. Oh,
there has to be.
Yeah, there is.
You know what? I'm going to search it as well. I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on Bing.
It used to be, so the statistics that used to be really famous were that there was like 6 sheep for every person in New Zealand.
Well, according to let me find the source of the information. According to statistica.com and the livestock number from Stats New Zealand.
That's a more authoritative.
Yes. Okay. So the Stats New Zealand right here. So the New Zealand government has
has gone round and counted all the sheep.
Yes.
Actually, they didn't even have the sheep statistics up first.
Cool. So the number of sheep. Oh my lord,
the decline is huge.
We had. That is wrong.
No, this is everything I've heard.
Okay, so in 1982, we had 70 million sheep in the country, and then it kept on going down, right? We had about 40 million sheep around 2005. We are down to 26 million sheep right now in New Zealand, and we have a population of about 4 million. So we have about 5 sheep per person.
Okay, so that's okay.
Stats New Zealand for the rescue. You rock, Stats NZ.
It's definitely not as much as a lot of people think, but okay. So there are more sheep than humans in New Zealand. I think there's more cattle than sheep nowadays. But anyway, 5 sheep for each person in New Zealand.
And I just want to point out that, so I searched it on both, on Bing first because the results are always better. I just checked it on Google and the Google answer was actually wrong. So here you go. Google, you suck. Next video.
All right. So cool. Still a lot of sheep in New Zealand.
All right. You're reading the next question.
Next up, can I join a Tongan choir just for the day? Oh, that would be cute.
If you got the skills to, should you is the question you should ask yourself. Are you good enough? And are you doing it because you want to join the crowd and be part of the crowd just because you want your 5 minutes of fame? That's the main question right now, because most of the choirs are extremely religious. You need to respect their beliefs. So that's the one caveat I would put to it.
Can you sing in Tongan? Most of the singing is in Tongan.
Yes.
How fluent are you at Tongan?
And Tongan singing.
And Tongan singing.
All right.
How strong is the coffee in Samoa? Will I still be awake for that sunset swim?
So a lot of
There's a lot of coffee people. I feel
yeah.
like this one person is going to Samoa and is like so like obsessed
Oh, I
with the
didn't check that was the
coffee.
same person. Because sometimes people like
Yeah,
comment and do
true.
a multiple. Maybe that was the same person. Yeah. So yeah, Samoans do love their coffee really really strong. Same thing with like Coco Samoa. It's like
Hot chocolate.
like it's like hot chocolate but very strong and very bitter. So yeah, it's going to be damn strong. So you better like your coffee strong. If you want to order the normal Samoan coffee. Howdy, Beverly. How are you doing?
Howdy.
Right. Next question, Laura. Is it offensive if I cannot finish one of those Tongan big feasts?
The entire buffet to oneself. or-
Flashback to that day when we both got served a full suckling pig just for us.
Yes.
So is that offensive, Laura?
It's actually not offensive to not finish the feast that has been laid out for you in a Tongan household or even at an event. Actually, you just eat what you can, and then what usually happens as a guest, you come as a guest, you are usually eating first without your hosts. So your hosts may be in a different room or whatever, or maybe just one of your hosts is with you, and you are like, it's customary for you to have the food first, eat, what you can, but you don't have to go overboard. And then whatever is left, the family or your hosts will eat afterwards. So definitely don't try to be like, oh, I need to eat as much as I can, like, or else I'll offend them, because actually what you're doing is taking more food away from your hosts. So yeah, don't do that. Just eat what you can, enjoy what you can, and just say how much you loved it.
Indeed.
Indeed.
All right. Will I need mountain climbing gear to do the Rarotonga Cross Island track?
Mountain climbing gear? No, you don't. You need a good pair of shoes. You need insect repellent. That's for sure. Some plenty of water, and what I guess you would usually, if you are a keen hiker, just take what you usually would take for a hike. Even just an extra layer, because it does get cooler as you're
Yeah.
going up into more mountainous areas. So do have an extra layer, or even a layer to protect yourself from the sun, a sun hat. Just sun protections and insect protections, your main go-to, and staying hydrated. So yeah, you don't need to have any crampons. You don't need to have anything too specialized. That's it.
Okay, so the next question I have, I know the background of it, and that's somebody that used to watch Australian Survivor. And they message and ask, if I meet a Samoan warrior, will they expect me to join their tribe? Don't believe the 4 minutes you see of local culture on a reality TV shows, please.
No, you will not be
You'll be welcomed.
taken to the tribe.
You'll be welcomed in the tribe. You will be able to share the experience and all that, but you will not be forced to join their tribe.
Yeah.
No, you won't be invited to join the tribe. All right. And another question that we get is island time really a thing, or is it just an excuse for people being late?
People don't really. Okay, island time is a real thing, yes. It's not really used as an excuse, like, oh, I want to be late, therefore I'll just say it's island time. Like, island time is a real thing. Like, it really is ingrained in the psyche of people living in the South Pacific Islands. It's just, yeah, it's being like on time for everything, knowing tracking your time of when things are happening. It's more like everything is a lot more going with the flow, and things still get done, but they just get done like when they happen to get done. They have long days, like you've got all day to get something done. So yeah, it's just this is just, I guess, like us Westerners, and yeah, even people, like a lot of people around the world that live in like sort of
Hustle and bustle.
high pressure societies. That's just something we're kind of inflicting on more on like their culture.
It'll be done when it be done. Or...
Yeah, everyone's a little bit different, and that's totally okay.
Indeed. All right, Beverly says doing well in the Montana. She said where there are more cows than people.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Similar culture here. I like it, Beverly. Okay, cool. We've done all our questions. We've done all our jokes. We had a good giggle. Any questions from you guys, or are we wrapping it up? Because I read all the funny questions I had. All the other ones are serious, guys. Everything else is like dead
Everything's
serious.
just-
Next
yeah.
week, we're back to dead serious.
Yeah, it's not really worth reading you the questions, but we are here to answer your serious or not so serious questions on the live chat. So we'll have another couple of minutes to see.
How long did it take me when I tried to open that first coconut? Do you remember that first trip in Fiji when I was a young lad and I would grab the coconut?
I think you tried with a knife from the breakfast buffet for a good 15 minutes before one of the staff.
But then do you remember I was trying to smash it on the rock and then I kind of opened it
yes.
and everything? Yeah, it took me forever.
It felt like forever, but it's one of those things that probably didn't take as long as you think, but because it's so painful to watch, it feels like it takes like an hour, but it was probably only just 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then one of the staff came and was like, do you want me to open that for you? Because this is sad.
I'm way better
That's
now.
what the eyes said, at
yeah.
least. They would never say that straight up. They wouldn't be so rude.
No, I'm way better now opening coconuts and everything. And also finding where the tools are, to like the right tool to open the coconut. I remember we were on that boat in Vavao in Tonga. We're doing that day with the boats and everything. And I grabbed the coconut and I was, like they were dilly-dally about and everything. I was thirsty. I grabbed the coconut and I opened it myself, like actually, because I saw the right tools and everything. So it took me like only mere minutes.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, a local would have done it way faster than that.
I mean,
but,
it wasn't like, it was definitely an improvement.
Yeah.
Like when you see like locals do it, they do it so like cleanly, and it's just like, we've done this 1,000 times. Just cut.
Well, I still have to dehusk it, so I dehusked it and then I did the whole thing. So yeah, I did it, but it's still way faster. What's our favorite grown in NZ fruit? Well, we grow a lot of like classic kind of fruits like apples and everything like that in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But if I have to go for like one of that, like the local fruit that we kind of like pride, like New Zealand does very well, blah blah, right? You get kiwi fruit, you get feijoas, you get those kind of things. I'm just not a big fan of feijoa. I think it tastes like soap. It's only good as jam. That's my personal opinion.
I
right?
agree. I agree.
So I think I do like, and I did post on Patreon last time I had one because it's quite rare for me to have it, but those red kiwi fruit inside, they're way sweeter and they're less acidic. And I think I really did like that. So that's the one I will choose. Laura, what would you choose?
A fruit that I haven't seen outside of New Zealand, or at least it wasn't in the UK.
Apple. I was living a life of being the worst.
The apples are actually incredible in New Zealand. I just want to say that. Like, the apples grown here are awesome, but the gold kiwi fruit, like I never had a gold kiwi fruit outside of New Zealand, so they're nice and refreshing. I like them.
Yeah. Oof, aren't we fancy? We don't like those boring green kiwi fruit, which we literally just had this morning. Yes. But wow, aren't we fancy? I like it. Yes. All right, everybody.
Beverly says, that was my next question. Do you like feijoas? They are rather perfumey. Apples in New Zealand are awesome. Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Totally agree. Yeah, feijoas are... they're weird. They're just weird. They like Robert just said, like they're nice if you put them in a jam.
No, you make a really awesome feijoa cake.
And feijoa cake. Yeah. So basically, if you surround them with sugar, they're great. But just on their own, I guess maybe they're just not as sweet as a fruit, and that's maybe what their downfall is.
Nice.
Mature X is here. Morena Mature X.
Yeah, good question, Beverly. I like it. All right, cool. We're going to wrap that one up. If you don't have any extra questions, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. If you have any questions about traveling in New Zealand or the South Pacific, but I mean any of the videos on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on all that. And yeah, go nuts. And
maybe you too will make it into our list of hilarious questions, and we will not.
Yeah, but if you have serious one, we love to help as well. Yeah. Let's be honest. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.